When you buy a boat, there's a lot to learn and no one tells you everything you need to know ahead of time. So we all learn from our mistakes, but some mistakes are more painful than others. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 of the more common mistakes that I've either made or I've seen other boaters make, so that I can help you avoid some of them in the future. Now, in addition to being in the boating industry for over 3 decades, I've also owned multiple boats over the years, things like fiberglass fishing boats, aluminum fishing boats, even runabouts. And trust me, I've learned many of these mistakes the hard way. So my goal is to help you so that you don't have to go through the same challenges that I did. The first mistake we're going to talk about is starting your motor on dry land without water. I've seen a lot of people do this over the years in their driveways or at the ramp, and I guess they're checking to see if their engine will turn over. I'm really not quite sure. But this can destroy your impeller in seconds. So this is what an impeller looks like. An impeller is a little rubber paddle wheel that's in your lower unit that spins and pushes water through your engine block for cooling. But if you run this dry, these vanes may stick to the walls of the water pump, causing some of these vanes to crack or break. And if that happens, it will not be able to push enough water through your engine to cool it down, which could ruin your day. So if you need to run your engine ahead of time or test your engine out, either put it in a big tank of water or put earmuffs on it and run it that way. Now, the second mistake, I am embarrassed to say that I learned the hard way, and that is unhooking your boat before you back your boat all the way to the water. You see, when I first bought my brand new tracker boat back in 2019, I backed it down to the ramp and left it about 5 feet from the edge of the water to give me space to go back and put the boat plug in, remove the tie-down straps, that kind of thing. And then I unhooked the winch strap from the bow and climbed into the boat. But as soon as my wife put our truck took it out of park, my boat slid off the back of the trailer and onto the boat ramp, missing the water by a couple of feet. Not good. And I'm not the only one who has done this. Here is an image I captured of a poor guy who did a premature launch of his boat at the ramp in Baltimore back in 2010 or 2011 while I was doing some research for Bayliner. So just remember to keep the bow of your boat hooked up until you've completely backed into the water. Now, mistake number 3 is running untreated ethanol fuel in your gas tank, which is a very common problem these days. Ethanol attracts moisture, and so it may absorb moisture in the atmosphere or condensation that forms in your gas tank due to the natural heating and cooling cycle of the day. And if enough moisture is collected, the ethanol and water mixture will bind and sink to the bottom of your tank, which is something that is called phase separation. This will result in hard starting, rough running, and could even total your engine, which unfortunately is something that happened to a friend of mine recently. The solution is fairly easy. Use ethanol-free gasoline if you can find it, or treat your fuel whenever you add gas. So this is the product that I use from Stabil 360 Marine, and it just takes a ½ ounce for every 5 gallons of gasoline, and I use this every time I put gas in my boat. And if you're not going to be using your boat for an extended period of time, you should fill your tank all the way up to remove any space for condensation to form in your gas tank. Now, mistake number 4 is not using your boat often enough. Perhaps you've gotten busy at the office, or the kids have a lot of activities over the weekend, or you've just had a new baby. Whatever the reason, if you're not getting out and using your boat often enough, that can cause problems, because one of the worst things you can do with mechanical things like marine engines is not run them periodically. If your boat sits too long, your fuel will start to degrade. Deposits in your oil may settle and create sludge. Corrosion might start to form on the cylinder walls, and of course your batteries will drain if they're not on a charger. So try to use your boat or at least run your engine every month or 2 if possible during the season. And if you're going to be storing your boat for an extended period of time, say say over the winter time, it is best to change your oil and ideally fog your engine to prevent corrosion from forming. Now, mistake number 5 is not trimming your engine properly. And this is something that I often see on the water. This applies to boats with a planing hull as opposed to something like a pontoon, which really doesn't plane all that much. I often see people driving down the lake with their motor still trimmed all the way down, and this causes the boat to plow into the water, which reduces your speed, reduces your fuel efficiency, and the ride quality isn't as smooth. Instead, you should start with your engine tucked all the way down, which will help your boat get on plane. But once you do so, start gradually trimming your motor up. And when you do so, you'll start to notice your speed pick up and your steering will get less heavy. Now, I'm going to kind of show you what this entails by this handy little graphic that I created. By the way, no extra charge for this. When you start out, you want to trim your motor all the way down, something like this. What that does is it raises your stern. Okay, but once your boat gets going, this angle, you can see it's actually shooting the water in a downward angle. It's going to force this bow down. So once your boat starts to plane out, you want to trim your engine up, which will give you a little bit additional bow rise. Essentially what you want to do for an ideal trim is to have the direction of the thrust from the prop be parallel with the surface of the water. Now, it's like this. Now, you don't need to see your engine to do this. What I do in my boat is I will, again, start with the engine tucked all the way down. Once I'm on plane, I start trimming up. And again, your speed will rise, the ride will get smoother. And if you overdo it, you will notice this because your boat will either start porpoising or it may ventilate, your RPMs might spike, or you'll see that big rooster tail at the back. That means you've over-trimmed, and so you just bump it back down a little bit. So that's all you do. Not that difficult, but if you trim your engine properly, you'll have, again, more efficient, you'll go faster, more efficient ride, smoother ride. Now, there are situations where I don't want the boat trimmed all the way up, such as when I'm running in heavy chop. Sometimes I want to get more of the bow of my boat cutting the waves a bit, but that's a topic for another day. Mistake number 6 is a big one, and it can be very costly, and that is using the wrong products to clean your marine upholstery. When people buy a boat, they often use products they have around the house, such as your Fantastic or 409 or soft scrub or multi-purpose cleaners, or God forbid, Clorox, some kind of bleach. The problem is that your marine vinyls have what's called antimicrobials and UV inhibitors built into the fabric to protect against mold and mildew growth or fading and cracking. But standard household cleaners typically have harsh ingredients such as ammonia or alcohol, which can weaken your threads and remove these protective agents, which will prematurely age your upholstery. Kind of like that scene from Indiana Jones where that guy drank from the wrong chalice. You should also avoid things such as magic erasers because these two can weaken your threads and scuff off some of the protective layer. Instead, you should only use products that are designed for marine vinyls, like this Ultimate Vinyl Clean from Starbright, which is what I use. Now, sometimes I will use Dawn dish soap if I happen to be doing a complete wash down on my boat. Dawn is fairly mild, but it is a pretty powerful degreaser, and so it could dry out your upholstery, leading to cracking. So you should not use Dawn as your go-to cleaner. And when you do use it, you'll want to follow it up with something like this 303 Aerospace Protectant, which will moisturize your vinyl and add some of the UV inhibitors back in that may have been removed from the cleaning. And if mold or mildew is present, again, do not use bleach, but try this Marine 31 instead. This is an excellent product, and you might be amazed at how well it can remove mold and mildew stains. And I'll include a link to all these products in the video description. Mistake number 7 is not recharging your batteries soon after you've run them down. Lead acid batteries do not like to be kept in a discharged state. If they sit too long, something called sulfation will occur, which can permanently reduce the capacity and longevity of your batteries. Instead, if you run your batteries down, be sure to put them on a charger as soon as possible when you get back. Now, if you happen to have lithium batteries, you don't have to worry about this. And that's because lithium batteries actually prefer to be kept at a partially discharged state. So this tip only applies to those who are using standard lead acid batteries. Now, while we're talking about batteries, one other tip. I highly recommend that all boaters always carry one of these on board their boat. This is a portable jump starter. This is one of those lessons that I learned the hard way. The most common reason for failure on the water by far is due to your battery. So if you have one of these on board your boat, it can keep you from getting stranded or having to wait a long time to get the dreaded tow of shame back to the dock. Now, mistake number 8 is trailering your boat with the bimini still up. Maybe it's been a long day on the lake and everyone is hot and tired and ready to get home, but before you hit the highway, be sure to take the time to stow your bimini. These are not designed for highway speed, so besides reducing your fuel efficiency, you run the risk of damaging your frame or tearing your canvas. So always be sure to take the time to fold it down and secure it before trailering your boat. Now, mistake number 9 is putting the cover on while your boat is still wet. This traps moisture, which can lead to mold and mildew growth. Instead, let your boat dry out first, or at the very least, ventilate it before you cover it. Now, I even go a step further, and I'll open up all my hatches and compartments as well and prop them open. That allows for better air circulation, which further reduces the chances of mold and mildew growth. Last but not least, mistake number 10 is ignoring your trailer tires. Trailer tires usually need to be replaced due to age, not tread wear. That's because the rubber starts to degrade once the tire is produced. And if you store your trailer outside, they will degrade even faster because of the harmful UV rays. So even if your tires look perfectly fine, it might still be time to replace them, including your spare, by the way. The way to do this is check the 4-digit DOT code embossed on the sidewall of your tire. This will show you the week and year of production. You should minimally replace your tires every 5 to 6 years from date of production. Don't base it on when you purchased your tires. Now, one last bonus tip, and that is when you're storing your boat over winter, be sure to trim your engine all the way down, especially if you're storing it outside. Otherwise, water could collect in your gear case, which could then freeze and expand and pop your gear case, leading to a very expensive repair. The reality is, most of these mistakes are pretty easy to avoid, provided that you know about them ahead of time, which is what we are trying to accomplish here today. In future videos, I'm going to break these things down even further, covering things like the biggest boat ramp mistakes, trailer mistakes, maintenance mistakes, etc. in more detail. But for now, let me know which of these mistakes you have made beforehand. And let's be honest, because there is no shame in that, and most every boater has had issues at some point. And if you've had other mistakes that you have learned from, please share those as well to help other boaters, and I might include that in a future video. Well, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, click on that like button, and be sure to subscribe to my channel to get my weekly tips and insights for boaters. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the water.